Call the meeting order of the Newman City Council and Redevelopment Agency of December 9th, 2008. Please stand for the pledge and the invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, join me in prayer, please. This evening marks a new era. People are leaving, new people are coming in. We ask the Lord to bless all the people, both leaving and coming, and to give them the wisdom and the courage that I think we had when we were in this board. In God's name, I thank you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mike. Roll call, please.
Councilmember King? Present. Councilmember Kelly? Present. Councilmember Crinklaw?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Martina?
Present.
Mayor Fenazia?
Present. Report on canvass of vote. The first item is adopt resolution number 2008, next number, declaring the results of the municipal election held on November 4, 2008.
Thank you, Mayor. As stated in our staff report to you, we're looking for a resolution tonight that'll declare the results of the municipal election that was held on November 4th. Stanislaus County has provided us the results, and they have been verified. So with that, we are looking for council action.
Do we have a motion?
I'd make that motion, Mr. Mayor.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. I just want to thank the people of Newman at this time and the past and current council members for their support over the last 8 years. It has been an honor to serve on the Newman City Council. And I just want to leave everyone with a few words of advice that Council Member Sheila Radford left with me 8 years ago. Your job gives you authority, and your behavior earns you respect. Thank you.
Mayor, before we do the oath of the next office, I'd like to make a presentation, if I may.
Okay.
I said my thank yous at our last meeting, but I just want to reiterate this. As the city manager and representative of this community, I want to first thank Councilmember Mike Crinklaw for his 4 years of service. With that, we have a presentation. It's a gavel, and it says, Councilmember Mike Crinklaw, 2004 to 2008. We'd like to thank you, and hopefully you'll display this with honor.
Thank you.
Second, we have the same thing for Mayor John Panacea. John was elected to the council in the year 2000, and in 2002 he was then elected to mayor, and he has served this community well for the last 6 years. Many people don't know, but John works tirelessly representing this community on many committees, not only at the county level but also on the state level. He was elected president of our League of California's district, and that's how many cities?
32.
32 cities. So he represented 32 cities here in both Merced, Stanislaus, and San Joaquin County, and he did that on the state level. So John is always out there working to promote the community of Newman, and we really served us proud. So with that, I'd like to present him, again, a gavel, basically saying Mayor John G. Fantasia, 2000 to 2008. Hopefully he'll display it proudly.
Yeah, I'll make the rounds this way. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you.
We're leaving.
You were leaving.
With that, both of these two council members that are outgoing tonight have really served our community proud, and again, I'd just like to personally thank them again. So. With that, we're going to have the oath of the new office, and then with that, following the oath of the new office, we're going to have a 10-minute recess to thank the outgoing members and to welcome the incoming members. So with that, we will have the election of the oath of Vice Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem Robert Martina. Councilmember Ed Caton will now become Mayor Ed Caton. And then we have Roberta Davis will be Councilmember Davis. So with that, if those three members could come to the podium, and the city attorney will swear them in.
Okay, everybody ready? This is quite an honor. I've sat through a lot of these. I've never been able to swear anybody in. Okay, please raise your right hand. And state the following. I state your name.
I, Robert Martina,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
and I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States
to the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California.
and the Constitution of the State of California.
That I take this obligation freely,
I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion.
and that I will well and faithfully
I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
With that, Mayor Caton, can you announce a formal 10-minute recess?
We'll take a short 10-minute break.
You want to go up there and sit in that chair? Go sit in that chair.
I'm gonna move to your spot. Now, they said,
You didn't bring your,
you can count on it.
I was going to bring my camera. Bella, Bella. That was a first.
Now we're gonna make her.
Bill, how you doing, buddy? How are things? Good, good. Things going well? Keeping you busy?
Yeah, I'm going out with Modesto ACO tomorrow.
He's Irish, but other than that, he's good.
Okay, everybody ready? Okay, we'll reconvene. Item number 6, declaration of conflicts of interest.
None.
Seeing any? Any ceremonial matters this evening?
None, Mayor.
Thank you. Item number 8, items from the public, non-agenda items. Come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. See any? Consent calendar. Item A, waive all readings of ordinances and resolutions except by title, approval of the warrants. Item C, approval of the minutes of November 18th meeting, special meeting.
I so move for approval of the consent calendar.
Is there a motion?
Can I do that? I wasn't here.
You can just note your abstention on the minutes. And second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Move on to item 10, public hearings. Item A, adopt resolution number 2008, next number, resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
Thank you, Mayor. As generally we see in our public hearing process of the city council meetings, again, our code enforcement officer has gone out and tagged properties. This is a vacant property, and while it tends to, you'll see some of the mess here in the garage, that's pretty bad. Part of what this is posing is a public health and safety hazard for the neighbors. By allowing this vacant house to continue to be occupied like this, vermin can come in there, rats can come in there, and it's potentially a health and safety hazard because it could be a fire hazard as well. So this one's over on Patrick Drive, so we're looking for the abatement of this one. And this one's on, I believe, Hagerman Peak. And again, just the weeds in the backyard. This was actually taken in October. You can see here, since then we've had some moisture, and it's probably going to lead to these weeds getting a little bit taller. And then the potential problem then becomes is a fire hazard. And if these weeds catch on fire, then it could then spread to a nearby fence, potentially to a nearby structure. So with that, we're asking you to abate these 2 properties.
Yeah, I have a motion. I'm sorry. We need to open up a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing. Anybody like to address the council on a public hearing regarding this matter? So then we'll close the public hearing. Now we'll go for action by the council. Have a motion?
I so move for adoption of resolution number 2008, next number, a resolution declaring the existence of a public nuisance under ordinance number 95-4.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item B, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, next number, an ordinance amending Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman City Code and adding Chapter 8.01.180 unauthorized entry into waste containers and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
Very nicely done, Mayor. It's a long one. This was a ordinance that was presented by Chief McGill at our last meeting. It's commonly referred to as dumpster diving ordinance. And what it does is it prohibits or it makes it unauthorized for people to enter people's garbage cans and to do collection of miscellaneous items in there. We felt this was important because we were getting a lot of complaints that people were moving into the alleys, making lots of noise, dumping out the trash or the dumpsters, collecting recyclables or whatever else was in there that they wanted and then not putting the trash back. So they're making noise, they're disturbing the neighbors, they're making a mess. Also, in the day and age of identity theft, it's very important that we control this as well. There is a provision in here for people who want to acknowledge that, let's say, Councilmember Kelly has the opportunity to come in and go through my recyclables. So there is a provision in there that a property owner can sign off and allow certain or specific individuals to enter their units. So we believe by putting that in there that it allows some people to continue to do it with the property owner authorization. So with that, we are asking that you conduct a second reading and adopt said ordinance.
Okay, I'll open up the public hearing. Anybody like to address the council regarding this item under public hearing? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. And I'll ask for a motion by council.
Okay, make a motion at the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, an ordinance amending Title 8, Health and Sanitation of the Newman City Code and adopting Chapter 8-10108, or 80, unauthorized entry into waste containers, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C. It's the second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, next number, an ordinance amending Title 9, Police Regulations of the Newman City Code, modifying Section 9.02, Animal Control, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. Over the past several weeks, couple months, staff has been working with this council, and all this stems from Stanislaus County canceling our animal control contract. At that point in time that they canceled it, staff started working on alternative methods of creating animal control here locally, because we could not pay the $130,000 that Stanislaus County wanted. And of course, we didn't think it was appropriate to charge $130,000 for that. So with that, we went back and entered into a contract with the City of Gustine for shelter services. We went back and we're now using existing staff to do animal control for us. With that, there was some necessary changes to our animal control ordinance. It was originally adopted when we moved it in contract with Stanislaus County. We had to strike Stanislaus County, put in City of Newman in that ordinance now. Also, it was necessary to appoint the Newman Police Chief as the Director of Animal Control, and then it will also allow Newman police officers and other members of staff to enforce our animal control ordinances. So with that, we believe this is the most appropriate way to better handle animal control services. It allows us local control. It brings cost measures to our community. We believe it will allow our residents to respond better, to rescue their animals instead of having to go all the way to Modesto. They would only have to go to Gustine to rescue their animals. And again, it allows us to keep about $20,000 in revenues that were currently going to Stanislaus County. So with that, we are asking you to conduct a second reading and adopt the ordinance as presented to you.
I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody want to address the council regarding this public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council.
I so move that we conduct second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, next number, an ordinance amending Title 9, Police Regulations of the Newman City Code, modifying Section 9.02, Animal Control, and authorizing staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
The motion, is there a second?
I second it.
It's been a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, approve and adopt the Howard B. Hill Jr. Park Project final initial study and negative declaration, and authorize staff to file a notice of determination.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Before you is the final initial study, draft negative declaration, and proposed notice of determination for the Howard B. Hill Jr. Park. Some background information. In 2001, the city applied and was awarded $300,000 in state funding from the Roberti Zeeberg Harris Non-Urban Space and Recreation Grant for development of a new park site on West Mariposa Road. This year's staff successfully had that grant allocation relocated to the new site adjacent to the Aquatic Center. As a requirement per the new location, we have to do a new environmental review, hence the initial study and negative declaration before you. As identified in the initial study, grant funds will be utilized for the initial design and construction of Howard B. Hill Junior Park. Work will include landscape design, hydro seeding, irrigation, landscaping, preliminary walkways, picnic areas, paving, and ADA signage as required by the procedure manual. Just quick identification. This will be, I don't know if you can read it from where you're at, but future landscape berm. These are some future walkways. The turf will be part of phase 1, landscaping, preliminary hardscape, and also irrigation. This project must be completed by late spring of next year, so in concurrence with the work that was identified in the grant, this site plan was created. The project has been designed to be adjacent to the aquatic center and is set to go to bid pending council's approval. Without approval and adoption of the environmental documents, the city cannot proceed with development and runs the risk of losing these grant funds from the state. We are ready to go. The state is just waiting for that notice of determination, and we can proceed, go to bid, start withdrawing money, and get this park going for the community. This project will provide a new park for the city's citizens and help kickstart development in the Hill Park Aquatic Center site. 3 comments have been received as of today. 1 from the Air Pollution Control District, which we are responding to appropriately. 1 from Caltrans, and 1 from the Stanislaus County Environmental Resources Department. Stanislaus County had no comments to offer, and Caltrans was simply a form letter just stating that they had reviewed it. Let's see here. Upon completion of the initial study, staff has found that the proposed park could not have a significant effect on the environment and that an EIR would not be required. Given these findings, a negative declaration was prepared. Fiscal impact is positive. The city is set to receive $300,000 in grant funds, provided that we expend $128,571 in matching funds, as was always the case since the award of the grant. Staff recommends approval and adoption of the initial study and negative declaration, and upon approval and authorization by council, staff can move forward with filing a notice of determination at the county clerk. I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Actually do it, Steph.
Who's going to build the park?
Build the park.
We actually haven't gone out to bid yet, but NTD Architecture, our architect for the Aquatic Center project, which is also encompassing the park area, is actually preparing the bid documents, getting things ready, awaiting council approval, and then we will put it out to bid, and that's when we'll find out. Obviously, we'll go with, the best offer. Mhm.
Any other questions of Stephanie? Okay, I'll open up the public hearing regarding this item. Is there any comments by the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council for direction.
I make a motion that we approve and adopt the Howard B. Hill, Junior Park project final initial study and negative declaration, and authorize staff to file a notice of determination.
Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Been a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Item E. Second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, next in number, an ordinance amending Title 11.05 Water Service Regulations of the Newman City Code, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is a second reading, and this was originally presented by our finance director, who's out ill today. What we're trying to do and accomplish here is strike the part of the ordinance that sets specific amounts for water deposits. It's very difficult and cumbersome to go back and do an ordinance amendment every time you want to change the water deposits. So what we're asking is that language be struck, and then new language be put in that it will be set by resolution. So with that, we're asking that you adopt this, or the changes to this ordinance, and then at the first meeting in January, we will come back the resolution detailing what we're proposing the water deposit fee to be, and then we will provide the methodology and justification for that amount. With that, I can answer any questions that you may
Any
have.
questions of Michael? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Any comment by the public? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, bring it back to council for action.
I make a motion that we adopt the second reading and adoption of the ordinance 2008, an ordinance amending Title
11.05 Water Service Regulations of the Newman City Code, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
There's been a motion. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 11, regular business. Item A, consideration of method for filling city council vacancy created by the election of Councilmember Ed Caton as mayor. Michael?
Thank you, Mayor. Again, this is, right now, we're currently sitting with 4 members of the city council. We have a 2-year term that needs to be completed, and again, that was due to Mayor Caton filling that slot, and so former council member Caton's spot is still have a 2-year term. There's 2 options for moving forward with this, and I'm going to ask the city attorney to step in at any time I make an error here. The first is to appoint a person within 30 days of this meeting. And then what we could do, if that is the option we choose, what staff is recommending is at this particular point in time, we would ask the council to then direct staff to start advertisements, and we would ask people to fill out a application for citizen service, and then the council could set a due date, and then anybody who's interested in serving that 2-year term could complete an application, submit it to us. We would then compile those and present those to the council. And then what we're asking is, because we don't have a scheduled meeting within 30 days, we would have it host a special meeting. At this point in time, staff would recommend either January 6th or January 7th. That's the first Tuesday of the year in January. And the reason why we're recommending those particular dates is with the holiday season coming up and getting notification in the newspaper. We're not going to probably be able to get notification into the newspaper until January or December 18th. So you want to have people have sufficient notice and time to complete an application and submit it, and complete it and submit it to us. So if we did that, we could have those applications due, right around December 29th, 30th, right towards the end of the month, and that would give staff sufficient time to compile them all up, do a staff report, and then present them to the council. So the recommended dates again are January 6th and January 7th. Those are only our potential dates. You could, as long as we do it by December or January 7th.
6th is 28 days.
The 6th. Okay, so that would be the 8th. We need to do it within those 30 days. Yeah, we need to do it within that. The other option is for council to fill send the vacancy to a special election. And in all likelihood, that special election would occur in June, during the June elections. And then that would potentially leave a 17-month term, and we'd be out of that vacancy position would be held vacant for about 5 to 6 months.
That's not going to work.
Yeah. And just a quick note. The reason again we're recommending the 6th or the 7th is we have record commission on the 8th of January. So those are the 2 reasons. One of the reasons why we're recommending the 6th and the 7th as well.
I think if we go out and if we have a special meeting on the 6th, that gives us plenty of opportunity to advertise. I just look at my calendar. We could go out on the 18th in the following week, all the way up to January 5th or January 1st, advertising in local paper night, and have it closed maybe on the 5th. Gives us the whole chance to. I'm just throwing that out. That's if you want to go a shorter time, maybe advertise a couple of weeks or.
Well, it's fully at the discretion of the council. We were, again, just recommending like the 29th or 30th of the month, and then that gives us time to compile them for you, put them in a package, and get them out to you ahead of time. Ultimately, the council makes a decision, and you could take them all the way up to that meeting date to 7 o'clock if that's what you so desired. And then if somebody could walk in at 6:45 and give you their paper, and they could be included, we'd run across and make copies for everybody. But
I don't like that idea.
okay.
Yeah.
So the other issue is and I was going to touch a little bit on it. City Hall is closed on January 1st and January 2nd of this year. So really, the 31st would be the last day. And then, but if you're doing it on that day, we would ask that it be done by noon, so that way we can compile them and still get those packets out to you in a timely manner.
Why don't we just go by on the 30th by 5 o'clock, and then I'm assuming everybody's consensus that we don't want to go to an election, right? We want to appoint.
Definitely not.
Okay. maybe we ought to just take it all the way up to Tuesday on the 30th at 5. That way it just gives staff plenty of opportunity to go through them and then present them to us. And then hold a special election on the 6th. How's that sound?
Mayor, just so you know, we actually have applications here right now.
Okay.
We actually have the application for city service already on our website under documents. So, and people can also get those and obtain those from City Hall. So you can either get them tonight, you can get them off our website, or you can go to City Hall and get those applications for city service.
Do we need a motion on this, or can be a consensus, or what?
You really don't. The law just says if you don't appoint within the 30 days, it automatically will go to election.
Okay.
So I think
Okay.
you've given direction.
Okay.
Okay.
We're good.
But we will need to set a special meeting date. And we would ask that you do that tonight, and probably need a motion and a second for that, correct, Tom? If they're gonna have a special meeting date?
We just need the Brown Act notice. It's
Okay.
the same consensus.
Okay. Okay, so did we have a consensus on what date we would host that
Sixth
meeting?
work for everybody?
Sixth,
It's
okay.
a
The sixth?
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay,
6 is fine.
okay, that'll be 1/6, and would you like the typical time at 7? Would you like to move it up to 6?
I'm flexible.
I don't know. I like
6 is fine.
7.
7
You
o'clock?
want 7, Bob?
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I'll go 6. How about 6:30?
That sounds like a compromise. I love it.
6:30 is fine.
Okay. So that meeting, our special meeting will be held on Tuesday, January 6th at 6:30. And then that'll be the purpose of typically what'll happen is the council can then appoint somebody through an interview process or whatever process that this council sees fit.
We'll hold interviews on that day and then appoint that day probably as well.
I would suggest that we appoint that day because we have to appoint within 30 days.
Yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. Item B, second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008 next in number, an ordinance regarding maintenance, security, and rehabilitation of abandoned and vacant properties, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. We've actually had 2 presentations on this one. The first one was the last meeting in October, and then we had the one meeting in November, which at the time that our city attorney presented this. This is the abandoned and vacant property ordinance, and it's due to the high number of foreclosures we have within our community now and out-of-town property owners, and this would allow us to abate those and to recover those costs. So, and the city attorney's here. He can also answer any questions that you may have with respect to this ordinance.
How do we make the owners of the property aware of this ordinance, other than by actual going in and abating the property when there's a problem?
Well, technically, through the publishing of this ordinance, that's how we make them notice.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you mean on an individual basis, we just try and track down which bank owns it at the time.
Yeah.
Bob, we will continue through our code enforcement process to try to get the property owners to comply before we have to, enact any fines or do any formal abatements. We always try to make contact with the property owner ahead of time. It's our first goal to get the property owner to take care of the process, to take care of the abatement. And without that, then we have to go and take care of it ourselves.
Michael, since this has been going on the last couple of years with the foreclosure and all the notices and abatements that we've done, have we seen any increase, I guess for lack of a better term, improvement by property owners as far as cooperating with the city?
We have not all. I'd love to say that all of it was because our code enforcement officers out there diligently working, and that's part of it. But the other part is the market's turning a little bit, and there's more properties that are coming for sale, so banks are starting to take care of them. So it's actually a combination of our code enforcement officer doing his job and getting the people who don't comply and getting those properties abated, and then also providing notices to banks that we're going to do that, and then wanting to make sure that they can get a sale with it. So it's been a combination of both the resale market coming back, and then our code enforcement officer working diligently to get the property owners to comply. He'll generally start with a list of about 10, and you only see about 2. That's really his success rate. It's a real testament to him working hard to make sure that he's getting property owners in there and working to get that. Because that's our first goal, is to get the property owner to do it. We don't want to have to go in there and do it.
I don't know, I'd just like to thank Tom for all his hard work on this, because this is, I hope we have some teeth in this, but at least we have an ordinance, or we're close to having an ordinance that will guarantee that the homeowners will be protected to some degree out there from losing value because their neighbor's home is not taken care of properly. So I'm kind of excited about this ordinance.
Any other comments? Bring back to council for action.
I move for second reading and adoption of ordinance number 2008, next number, an ordinance regarding maintenance, security, and rehabilitation of abandoned and vacant property, and authorize staff to prepare and publish a summary of said ordinance.
A motion, is there a second?
I second that.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item C, adoption of resolution number 2008, next in number, a resolution declaring certain property surplus property.
Thank you, Mayor. On occasion, there are property that the city does acquire that does replacement property at that such time that our property is no longer needed. We go out and surplus it, and then we dispose of that property through auctions and through other means. Also, there are times in which the police department, it's time for them to get rid of property they've confiscated and held a certain amount of time, and we can no longer afford to store it. So with that, you see 3 attachments today. Attachment A is from the police department. Attachment B is from the finance department. Attachment C, you actually got a new one today. We gave you the old one, but there's a new one that was in front of you today, and that's from the recreation department. So with that, we're asking you to adopt the attached resolution and approving the request of the city departments to surplus obsolete, unrepairable, or otherwise unneeded city property.
Any other questions of Michael? Not? Action by the council?
Make a motion that we adopt resolution 2008X, a resolution declaring certain property surplus property.
Motion, is there a second?
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item D, adoption resolution number 2008, next in number, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with the city of Patterson for fire department clerical services.
Thank you, Mayor. As you may recall, back in August of this year, our city council met with the Patterson City Council in the West Stanislaus Fire District. And it all stemmed from a fire study that was done by Citygate, which is a consulting group that looked at fire protection services here on the west side of Stanislaus County. And that study really studied, that report studied the city of Newman, Patterson, and West Stan, and was there opportunities for consolidation? Was there opportunities for shared resources? What could we do to work together to provide better and higher level service for our residents here in West Stanislaus County? Well, the report did come back, and it didn't recommend any consolidation at this particular point. We're too far away. 12 miles is a long ways away from Patterson. But they did have some good recommendations that we could make some baby steps towards working together. One of those first steps that we really wanted to do was get all 3 departments working on the same software system, and that's called Firehouse. So today we are actually, through your budget that you approved in July, we went out and purchased Firehouse, and we have it all organized and ready to go, and we're ready to tie into the city of Patterson and West Stanislaus. And then all of our information and data will be consolidated. And what that does is it allows us to query the data and the information that we have, pull that information, and look at where we're going to respond to fires, how long it takes for us to get there, are there any anomalies in there. But it also will allow us to jointly file for grant applications because all of the data is in there as well. As you know, we share a fire station with West Stanislaus Fire Protection District. So we think this is a great first step towards working together for fire protection services here in West Stanislaus County. So with that, there is a small fee for us. It's $250 a year, or a month, excuse me. And what that does is we're paying the city of Patterson for one of their data entry clerks, one of their administrative staff, to enter our fire log into the system. We don't have a full-time staff member right now that could do that. So we're recommending that we do that on a contract basis with them. She's very familiar with it. And then what that does is also ties into the county CAD system and logs in and those types of things. So all the information would be entered from the 3 agencies by one particular person, so we know that it's all true and accurate and following the same form. So So with that, we'd like you to memorialize this through the approval of the MOU with the City of Patterson and West Stanislaus Fire Protection District.
Any questions?
I think this is a great step forward, Michael, bringing us all together. You know, it's only on the west side we have to take care of our own over here because nobody else cares about us.
Any other questions? If not, bring it back to council for action.
I make a motion that we adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding with the city of Patterson for fire department clerical services.
That motion, is there a second?
I second that motion.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move to item E, adoption of resolution number 2008, a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a reimbursement and loan agreement with 33 and Inyo Partners Limited.
Thank you, Mayor. For a number of years, we've been working on the underground district in our downtown plaza. And right now, we are very close to nearing completion. It's probably going to be about mid-February before we get all the poles pulled out. But I think that's a great time for us, and it'll be a great day because shortly thereafter, we'll be going out to bid for the downtown plaza project. And it's imperative that the poles and all the undergrounding be taking place before we go out to bid on that particular project. The second piece of that is the Nob Hill Shopping Center, which is also called Westside Marketplace, has a phase 2 development, and that phase 2 is on the south side, just south of Burger King driveway entrance and the Nob Hill driveway entrance. And he's been working on trying to get some more commercial development in there. Well, the way this is tied together, we need one more easement in the downtown plaza area there. It's a communications easement, and it's an underground easement that we need to get communication services to Bank of the West, and we need to go through an adjacent property to get there because it doesn't directly tie in. So we've been working with this property owner, and we've come out to what we think is a fair agreement for invaluable consideration of the easement. One, the developer would provide us the easement through the property, and that would allow that easement and to provide communication services to the Bank of the West. In lieu of that, the city or the agency would reimburse the developer for costs that are associated with extending water and sewer line southward to the adjacent property, which is currently sits the business of G-Bar Inn. It's down that way. So there's additional commercial property past this phase 2 there that we want to ultimately develop as a more commercial, and there's another 17 acres of commercial property past G-Bar Inn. So all told, there's about 20 acres of commercial property that we'd love to develop and help us with property taxes and sales taxes. So what we would do is only for the water and it's a master plan water line and it's a master plan sewer line for which we collect fees for anyways. The third thing is if the city makes a finding of a public health and safety issue by making them extend curb, gutter, and sidewalk from the end of what most of you might know as the county bank property to G-Bar Inn property. It's about 150 feet there. We may be asking them to put in curb, gutter, and sidewalk, and what that would do is it would limit vehicles from trying to cut through there to get onto the highway because that's not safe. Can you imagine if halfway to G-Bar Inn, the sidewalk and curb and gutter stopped, and it was just dirt there? You can just imagine people trying to drive over the dirt and hit 33 going southbound or coming the other way, shortcutting through the traffic, and we don't think that's a safe course for people to be traveling. So what we would like to do by putting curb, gutter, and sidewalk in all the way to G-Bar Inn, it forces all the traffic to then come to the what I'm going to call the Burger King entrance on the south side of that shopping center right now. So what we would do then is give the developer a 0% interest loan to put those improvements in, and then he would pay us back for those improvements at the time the property either develops or sells or transfers ownership, one of those three. Of course, we would have to have an attorney's fee clause in there because if either one side had to enforce the agreement, we want our attorney fees in there, and then lastly we would have an exhibit diagram and all those improvements. So All told, there's an estimated about $50,000 worth of improvements on there, of which about $10,000 to $15,000 would be reimbursed because it would be a loan, and then there would be about $30,000 to $35,000 worth of master plan improvements extended to the next property line. The city and the agency would easily recover that through tax increment and sales tax probably in about 3 years. Also, we would recover that through the collection of community facility fees, or impact fees as they're commonly known. So with that, I can, because I know our attorney has been working with his attorney, the developer's attorney, and he's been out of state, we're asking you to agree to these terms right now, and then allow the city manager and the two attorneys to work out the final wording of the agreement. Time is kind of the essence right now, and that's why we're kind of hoping that you'll approve these terms and allow us to execute the agreement, because we'd like to get that done sometime before our next meeting, and this would allow us to proceed forward. So with that, I can answer any questions that you may have.
Tom, with the ongoing negotiations that you're going to continue to have with their turn, do you foresee any issues, any problems?
Well,
I mean, I'm concerned about, I understand that we're in a time constraint, but we're asking us to pass a resolution to agree to it, and it hasn't been finally hammered out.
I would say that we basically do have it hammered out. I have a draft agreement here. He hasn't seen it, but it incorporates everything that he said with a few of the standard legalese clauses. It's just a 3-pager, very, very short and sweet as these go.
Right. And Mayor,
I would say we're done, just subject to him saying, yes, that's what I said.
Okay.
and Mayor, and I might add, if any of these 5 terms change or they want to add number 6, we would not move forward without council approval. So what we're saying is, if you approve these 5 terms, and these are the terms of the agreement that make up the bulk of the agreement, we would go forward with it. If they wanted to add any kind of term or condition that's not within this 5 that has a detriment or that would have an effect on the agreement, we would then bring it back to the council and not move forward with it.
Any other questions from council? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for action.
I so move for adoption of Resolution 2008, next number, approving the terms of reimbursement and loan agreement with 33 and NU Partners, LTD, and authorize the executive director to execute said agreement.
Been a motion, is there a second?
I second that motion.
Been a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? This motion carries. Okay, we'll go to item F. District Supervisor 5, DeMartini. Do you have any comments tonight?
Very much in the way of the report to the city tonight. Not that there isn't a lot going on with our budget and yours. We'd like to say that we got notice this afternoon our chairman Mayfield had died today, which is not really unexpected, but he had been ill for the last couple of months. So we announced that. We are, like any city, struggling with our budget and worried about what the state may do to us this next year. I went to a CSAC meeting, which is a State Association of Counties, last week. A very similar organization to your League of Cities, where the governor was there. And the situation with the state budget is just really grave. The state of California, according to him, will run out of money in February. And there's a stalemate between the state legislature and the governor. Governor blames the legislature blames the governor. Nothing is getting done. The unemployment insurance fund will run completely out of money the 3rd week of January. And because I say the state will run out of money in February. So we in the county get a good portion of our money for social services from the state of California. So we don't know what our situation's going to be when it comes March. So I'm not sure how the cities are probably not as dependent upon the state as what the counties are, but our situation is can be pretty serious this next year. We will see what happens. And when you couple this with our retirement system that's lost $500 million in the last year, we certainly have our challenges ahead of us. So. But I don't have anything really specific to the city tonight, but I appreciate the opportunity to come up here in each of your meetings. I look forward to working with all of you for this next year, and we just hope things will improve.
Thanks, Jim. Michael, I think as long as I've been on the council, I think Jim's maybe only missed 1 or 2 meetings, and I'm probably going to mess up here. Can we just add him to the end of our regular business each time? Just put supervisor report, District 5 supervisor report. Is that something we can just add?
Sure. We don't see an issue with
That'll
that.
keep
And then
me in
if
check.
he shows up, he comes. If he doesn't, then we'll.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thanks. Okay, item 12, items from the city manager and staff.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to welcome our newest member, Councilmember Davis. Welcome to the council. Look forward to working with you. Our new mayor, Councilmember Caton, and Bob, congratulations on your reelection. We are moving forward with a couple of projects, and we just touched briefly on one, which was the underground district. Again, we're working with AT&T right now. They're the last of the communication services, and once we get this, make that phone call tomorrow, letting them know that last easement is secured, and we'll be able to move forward and get that done. We expect that at this point in time, he's telling me all poles will be removed within that area from Tulare to Fresno, mid-February. So that's good news, because we're actually working really hard with Caltrans right now. There is a meeting on this Thursday with our consultants in Caltrans, working on a cooperative agreement to make sure that all the plans are approved so we can go out to bid here in the spring, I believe, is the timeline for going out to bid on that one. So those two projects are moving along. That's the underground district and the plaza. Next week, you'll see construction beginning on the sewer line replacement project. That's a CDBG project, and that's going to be taking place in downtown residential district. We're replacing 7 blocks of sewer line, and that was recently you awarded that bid to Lawrence Bacco for $125,000. So again, that will begin on December 15th, I believe is when they're scheduled to come in and begin construction on that. We have your marching orders for the special council meeting that's going to again take place in January, and we'll get those announcements out for anybody that may be in the audience today that wants an application. We have some right here for the citizens out there. It's a 1-page application. It's a very easy application to fill out. It just asks you a couple of basic questions. So you can, again, contact either myself, Mike Meyer, our deputy clerk. You can go online and get those and download those, or you can actually pick some up today. So we might have 1 or 2 additional items for that meeting because of timeline. So at this point in time, we're trying to figure out the schedule on that. That would be the 6th and the 13th. If we can't wait till the 13th, we might have 1 or 2 items for you on the 6th as well. So one thing I would like to talk to this council about is, and we can do it today or we can do it at the meeting on the 6th, is staff would like to have a Saturday morning goal setting workshop in January or early February with the council. And at that point in time, each department head would come before you and do a half-hour presentation talking to you about the projects that we're working on, timelines, starting to show you a 1-year, 2-year, 3-year timeline for projects and things that we'll be working on in the future. We want to make sure that we're in lockstep with this council and making sure that the projects that we are working on and the goals that we're trying to push forward are still and continue to be the goals of this council. And then we also want to educate the new members of the council about what we're currently working on. So with that, again, we'd like to set up that meeting. So if you'd like to wait till the 6th, maybe we can do it on the 6th, and then you would have a full council. Right now, late January, early February on a Saturday morning, we really think we could do something from 9 to 12 and really accomplish a lot in about 3 hours there, and really make sure that your staff is, again, moving forward and trying to achieve the goals that this council is setting for us. So with that, if you could take that into consideration, and hopefully when we come back on January 6th, have some dates for us. We'd like to probably look at, either the third or fourth Saturday of that month is the 17th or the 24th. Are good ones. They're actually maybe the 24th or the 31st might be good dates for us. So if you can check your calendars and see how that end of January is looking for you, that'd be great. And again, as your staff, will continue to try to provide you a full presentation of what we're going to try to achieve for you over the next 1 to 3 years. And really, we need to start looking out that far. Just to shoot at 1 year really doesn't tell you the whole story. So really, that's why as staff, we're going to try to show you a 1 to 3 year project schedule and some goals that we're going to achieve for you. So, touch a little bit about this earlier. As Christmas falls and New Year's falls on difficult days this year, as staff, we worked with our staff members and we basically told our staff we're not going to turn down vacation requests. As such, City Hall will be closed on the 24th, 25th, and 26th of this month, as well as the 1st and 2nd of January. City Hall will be closed on those particular days. So there's not a lot of people coming in on Christmas Eve to pay a water bill. There's not a lot of people coming in on the day after Christmas to pay a water bill. And it really allows our employees to have additional time with their families and not just come back for one particular day. So we actually serve two good things out of that. December 19th is a Friday. That is the day the citizen that you put through the academy will be graduating. Edgar Lopez will be graduating from the police academy on December 19th and will be sworn in as the Newman police officer that particular day. So if you'd like to know where that's going to be, just contact either myself or Chief McGill. We can give you all the particulars about the date and time and location of that ceremony. So, and then lastly, we're currently working with LAFCO, Local Agency Formation Commission, and that was a committee that the mayor sat on. We're going to need a new representative on that committee. And so we're trying to get our MSR approved right now. So committees will be, again, that's something that we're probably going to look at doing on January 6th, is setting our committees and who's going to sit on what particular committees and getting those appointments taken care of on those particular days. Which leads me into, because our league meeting, or our league representative to the executive committee for the League of California Cities did not seek re-election. Bob, you are the alternate.
I am attending.
Okay, now we have two meetings.
I know.
You attend the 10th and the 11th?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
7 o'clock and 5 o'clock.
Yeah, and Ceres and Manteca.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I think he contacted everybody else. I'd love to go to that one in Manteca. Go to the Bass Pro Shop and do a tour, and that's going to be great.
Oh, yeah. Lots of money.
So with that, our Chief McGill is out at Command College right now in Folsom or Roseville, in Sacramento area, Folsom, and our finance director is sick right now. She has beginning stages of Bell's palsy, I think. So unfortunately, so we gave her the night off as well. So only staff member other than our assistant planners, Stephanie Ocaso, is our rec director, Terry Heiberger.
Jump up, Terry.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council members. I had to carry the load for everybody today, so Michael told me I had to bring a report. I just wanted to give you an update on our youth basketball program. We currently have 165 registered participants. We still have 6 spots available in our 8 to 10-year-old girls division, so please contact the rec department as soon as possible so we can get those filled. In our 8 to 10-year-old boy division, we have a waiting list. If we can find 5 more boys and a coach, we would fill another team. And in our junior high division, we currently have 6 on our waiting list. If we can get 2 more to commit, we would form another team, as we already have a coach for that. In our adult basketball league, I have 8 teams that have left a deposit to hold a spot, and I have room for 4 more teams, and we will accept registrations until filled or December 15th at 5 p.m. The Teen Center, we began our winter hours on December 1st. We used to close at 6 o'clock. We're closing at 5. It gets dark. The kids need to start getting home because most of them do walk to and from. And we've been averaging about 15 kids a day. And last Friday, the YOLO after-school program brought an additional 15 kids to the center for a field trip. when they do come, they do bring their leaders with them, so it's not like we're, yes, which is very nice. Any questions?
No. Any questions? Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
Stephanie, do you have anything?
Just smiles.
Is our public works still in school?
Yes, and our Public Works Director, today's his last class. So he will, today's his last class. He's working on his master's degree, and today's will be his last class. So he'll be, beginning in January, he'll be attending meetings.
Great. I guess we'll come back to council comments. Bob?
Yeah, I just like to say that it was a tough election. No, you know,
Lift your feet.
running unopposed is you know, it's. I mean, I'm grateful I'm up here, believe me, and I'm grateful that I can offer my services to the citizens of this town, and which I truly love. And there's so many exciting things going on in our city. Any of you that sit in this chamber knows that the city is alive and well, and the people care about it, and it's very exciting. But anyway, I'm just happy to be up here and hope I can do the right things for the city of Newman. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Ted?
I want to just personally thank John and Mike for their dedication to this city, and they've we will see with all the committees that John was on, and it's amazing. I don't know when he ever was home, to be honest, but thank you for that. I also want to compliment the people, whoever took care of the fence over there at the soccer field, you know, back at Ranchwood, and it's all fixed, and so whoever did it, thank you very much. It looks great. So that's about it.
How's the tree, Ted?
The tree looks like the old trees. I'm not sure it's going to make it or not.
It gives you something to talk about.
You got it.
Roberta, welcome.
Thank you.
You have any comments?
I'm looking forward to this job.
Great. For myself, I'm just very, very happy, and I'll do the best job I can as your mayor. I also want to thank John. I know he worked very, very hard, as well as Mike. We'll miss both of them, but I don't think they'll be strangers. So I'd just like to thank you, John, for all your hard work, and also Councilmember Crinclaw. And I just look forward to serving this community. I've lived here for over 30 years, and Newman is home, so I just want to do the best job I can as your mayor, so I'll continue to work hard. And again, on my behalf, and I know as well as the rest of the council, I have all the confidence in you, Michael, as our city manager, and all of your staff, and I think we have a good team. I think that's why we've been successful as we have been over the years. I think we've got good staff in place now, and I just look forward to working with you the next few years, and we'll continue moving forward.
Thank you.
Okay. If there's no other comments, we'll adjourn to closed session. Closed session. Conference with legal counsel, potential litigation, one case under Government Code 54956.9. Motion to adjourn.
I make a motion.
Motion and second.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Cookie time.